In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to build a wall. Again. But this time, we're going to be using stones. Last time we focused on using oak planks, this time we're going to be using variations of stone. Probably not cobblestone though. I know a lot of times you'll look at a village house and see it made of cobblestone and it actually looks really nice. Depending on the size of the house. For a little one like this, yeah. But when it gets to a bigger kind of house, you're going to need a different kind of stone. Here we have a basic stone house. Obviously, we don't want to make the house entirely out of stone, unless you're living in a cave. But if you're living up on the surface, you're going to want to have some alterations. Here we have a basic cobblestone wall, and just like last time, a pillar and rim on the outside is actually pretty good. Honestly, with stone, you can pretty much go with spruce or dark oak. They all look really, really good. And here we have a little frame that sticks out, just like last time. But again, you don't really want to use cobblestone as your main block. It just doesn't really look that nice. So instead, we're going to be picking stone bricks. Stone bricks is going to be our main block for this, just because it looks much nicer than cobblestone as a main block. As you can see, this looks a lot nicer. The cobblestone on the bottom gives it that little rimming job on the bottom. We use the stone bricks for the main block. Did I really use infected again? As you can see, normal stone bricks does look pretty nice. But just like villager houses, you can give them a little bit of theme. The really nice thing about stone bricks and cobblestone is that they have moss variants. If you go ahead and stick in the moss variants, kind of spread them out, don't really patch them together too much. Then it gives the house a little bit of an age, while also not being way too mossy. And if you really want, you can add crushed stone bricks. Honestly, I don't really think it goes really well, but if you want to, you can. Of course, you want to put in your windows. Any kind of windows really look nice, but personally with stone, the light gray window does look a lot nicer with it. I just use light gray windows for everything anyways, but it looks extra better with stone. Now, depending on the size of the house, you can duplicate this wall over as many times as you want, but you may not also want to have windows in every single wall. If you want to keep the same mossy, cracked variant, go ahead. But at least this way now, you don't have to have windows in every single wall, but you should have it on enough. Of course, you don't have to work with just bricks or cobblestone. Those do look really well. Cobblestone doesn't really work as its own block. Bricks can, but you shouldn't. We have the andesite, diorite, and granite, which is another kind of block. I mean, let's face it, these are probably some of the worst stones in the game. But to be honest, the smooth variants actually look pretty nice, especially the andesite one. Personally, I don't really use diorite for anything because it kind of looks just like birch, and no one really likes birch. So, yeah. First up, we have the andesite wall. Unfortunately, with these kind of smooth blocks, they all have that gridded texture in them, which is actually a little bit unfortunate. Which means you can't really use andesite as a main build unless you want like a tile texture. I searched in the creative menu for like 20 minutes. I couldn't really find anything else that fit with it except bricks. Now you got yourself a little tile on the bottom. And of course, if you want to add the rim on the side, you can, but you don't have to. Personally, for a house, I think you should do this just because it adds different color to the house. But if you're underground or you're having some special kind of base, you can stick with stone. It doesn't really matter. But for a house, it does look a lot better. It doesn't have to be sticking out, but generally, I like to have it stick out. It doesn't really matter what the size of the window is, it just really matters if it's symmetrical, which is why it's always good to do an equal amount on both sides. You can have it like this, or like this, it doesn't really matter, but personally we're going to go with the first one. And if you want, you can add a little bit of texture to the build, adding a little bit of bushes, and adding some little blinds to the side of the windows. Now you got yourself a pretty nice wall. Sometimes what I like to do is have berry bushes inside these little areas. Berries aren't exactly the best kind of food, but you can get them a lot quicker, and anytime you're outside, you can just grab some food without having to go inside. Bonus tip, if you want to build a house in this biome, and you want to use leaves, it's probably not a good idea. As you can see, most of the leaves here look pretty dead, except for spruce and azalea for some reason. The next wall we have is the granite wall. Again, just like andesite, it has that gridded texture to it. It's really not a best build for a house, but honestly, you can pick whatever you want. Found a couple of blocks that match with this. Bricks is actually a pretty good one. It's really hard to have a main build with bricks, but bricks actually does look pretty good with the granite. Next we have the mangrove planks. The mangrove planks are actually pretty good. The granite does look very pink next to it, which is why I couldn't really build the mangrove on the bottom. The granite had to be a little thing at the bottom. The granite had to be in the bottom. The mangrove had to be in the top. Of course, you can do whatever you want. I just feel like this worked better. And now we have pink terracotta. Honestly, I don't really use terracotta for any of my builds because I don't really know how to get it. Beyond that, it actually doesn't look that bad. It does look pretty bad when you put it all solid together. But maybe if you cut it out a window in there, it actually doesn't look that bad. It actually really doesn't. Of course, you can put any kind of window pane you want to, but I feel like it's kind of better to put a kind of window that matches the color of the blocks around it. Bonus tip, you actually get terracotta from smelting clay blocks. I know, this is actually really annoying. It's really hard to get clay blocks. Except from the new special cave underneath. I don't remember the name. I'll put a picture up if I remember. This is how you get terracotta. It's really annoying, but once you get 8 pieces of terracotta, surround it around a piece of dye, and then you have 8 of that colored terracotta. I think we're going to stick with this one for now. We have the granite and the bricks in the window, and it actually doesn't look that bad. I kind of gave granite a little bit of annoyance in the beginning, because I didn't really like it, never used it for anything. But it actually doesn't look that bad. Actually, something I found out is actually the mangrove log actually looks pretty good if you put it next to. Of course, you can use any kind of log you want, but I just think that it looks good when it kind of fits together. We won't have it stick out this time, we'll have it stick in. This way, we can have some variations to our builds. Really, you can do anything you want with these walls. You can put in window frames, you can put in those blinds, you can put in leaves and stuff you want in the middle. It doesn't really matter, you can do whatever you want. Actually, I'm looking at this now, this actually looks pretty bad. Yeah, don't use granite. And last up, we have diorite. Diorite actually looks really bad on a build. There's a lot of blocks in the game that are white, but not a lot of blocks that fit with diorite. Okay, sadly I couldn't really find any blocks that fit with diorite. The only thing I could find was white concrete and block of quartz. I'll be honest, this actually doesn't really look that bad, but the diorite is a little too dirty is the problem. The block of quartz similarly has that little gritted texture the same as the diorite. It looks better, but the diorite just looks much dirtier this way. It's really hard to use diorite. I mainly like to use diorite in tiles. Diorite looks a lot better in tiles, well, kitchen tiles I guess you could say, but they do look a lot better here. It's not really good to use diorite on a wall, but I'll try my best. I really could not think of anything, this is all I could think of, so we're just going to try to stick with it. Can't believe I have to use this, but I have to use a birch log. The dark woods don't even look that good with it. You know what, I take that back, it actually doesn't look that bad. Of course, like before, you can put in your blinds, your glass, whatever the heck you want. But this time I'm going to try to show you something a little bit different. By putting in stairs, it gives the wall kind of a little circle-y effect. If you want, you can try to complete the circle completely if you want, but you don't have to. I'll just show you what it looks like. If you do like this now, a lot of the wall has now become a nice circle, which actually doesn't look that bad. It looks a lot better because most of the diorite is hidden. The last block I'll go over today is deep slate. There's 5 different deep slate you can use. Normal, cobbled, polished, bricks, and tiles. Personally, I like the last 3 more than the other 2. I don't really use the other 2 for anything. The last 3 look really good. Personally, I like the tiles more, but we can pick whatever we want. This is the deep slate tiles. They look a lot better because the tiles are a lot smaller than the normal kind of bricks. But now we have to try to edit as much as we can. In terms of the house, you probably want to do this for a little bit of a rimming. You don't want it to be completely stone, otherwise this is going to be a stone structure that doesn't really look much like a house. Unless it's underground in the nether in the end or somewhere different. Okay, I know I've been using dark oak logs a lot today. I'm going to try to use a different kind of wood another day. It just looks really good with darker blocks and lighter blocks. So it really goes good with anything. And this is what it looks like. It actually looks really good. I'm really glad with this. Again, you need to pick some kind of window, though you don't really have to. If you don't really want to pick a window, then you can do something a little bit different with the build, which actually will make it look really nice. In some update a while ago, they must have changed how the walls work, and now when it's put up against two different kinds of walls, it walls up completely. So now it looks like it's a smaller kind of block, which actually makes it look really nice. It kind of pushes the wall in. Although if you want to do this, you won't be able to have anything in the bottom, and you can't really have any windows. Never mind, just lied, you can't have a window. It doesn't really look great like that. Even though the black glass actually blends in really well with it, it looks like there's nothing there at all. You can do it if you want, you don't really have to. I'm not really pushing you to do anything you don't want to. Of course, you can use something like this, which actually pushes the wall in a little bit more, and you still have a window. You can't put blinds on there, but at least this way the wall goes in a little bit, and it looks a little bit nicer. At this point, you don't really need a piece of wall that sticks out. You can just have this. It actually doesn't really look that bad. You can't really put much in front of it because then it's going to stick out too much, but if you can, you can. I made the really dumb mistake of building this in this really dumb biome, so I put moss down instead of regular grass because the grass looked dead. At least this way the grass looks nice, and with the spruce trapdoors holding up the moss, it makes it look really nice. The spruce trapdoors look really nice for little things that hold up grass, because it kind of looks like the barrel. I know there's a lot of other bricks I could have gone into this episode, but I'm looking for house stuff. None of the stuff really fits with the house. Well, except regular bricks. Maybe even blackstone. None of the stuff fits on a normal house. Some of this stuff fits in special areas, but not just a regular house. I'll get into them in a different episode, though. Alright, bye.